Well, I know I'm a little late, but I figured I had nothing better to do, so I'd follow through on what I promised and analyze the gameplay showcase in order to summarize what we know so far. We first of all get a very good look at Kraven, whose design looks really good. I love how he's still managed to stay incredibly intimidating while also keeping the iconic look that everyone knows. He's got more of a tech look instead of leather, but to be honest, I don't mind it. I think it fits this design pretty well. One of Kraven's troops shows us the tablet, and it's got a ton of heroes, anti-heroes, and villains on there. The tablet shows Black Cat, Prowler, Wraith, who is Yuri Watanabe from the first game, Tombstone, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Lizard, Taskmaster, Kingpin, Shocker, Vulture, Rhino, Doc Ock, and Electro. After the Kraven intro, we get a time skip of 6 months showing Kraven's troops hunting Peter, who is in Queens right now. We also know Queens is one of the new playable areas alongside Brooklyn, both joining the already playable Manhattan. And with that, we get the first look at Insomniac's version of the symbiote suit. I think it looks really cool. I love the gooey alien textures and the armor plating it has. The gooey alien textures really help to make the suit feel more out of this world, and the armor plating makes a ton of sense, as the symbiote would reasonably want to make sure Peter is safe. They also managed to keep the classic look of the suit while still providing their take on it. Overall, this suit is just really good. Once we get into gameplay, we get to see a look at one of the symbiote's special moves, and also the UI. The UI looks pretty similar to the first game in my opinion. I do like how it's more plain and professional. It fits Peter a lot. It's also something we get to see paralleled later with Miles' UI, but I'll get into that in a bit. There's again now special moves for Peter and Miles, and also the gadget wheel has changed. The special moves for Peter include this symbiote arm grab thing he does, which you seem to do by doing L1 plus D-pad left. This splatoon into the air thing he does, which is done by, again, I think L1 plus D-pad up. And L1 plus D-pad down seems to be this move where he grabs a bunch of people and slams them into the ground. We don't see L1 plus D-pad right, unfortunately. There's also a gadget wheel, which we don't really see until Miles' part. The wheel seems to be smaller this time around, but we don't really know if you can expand it or change the gadgets around, like a mix and match kind of thing. There also seems to be new finishes and new combos, such as my favourite, which is the Ball Stomper. There's also this mechanical dog thing, which initiates a quick time event. I also gotta say, I also love Yuri Lowenfall's voice direction here. It sounds like Peter is trying to be really edgy by saying things he thinks would be cool as fuck. Once Peter's section is done, we finally get to see Spider-Man, aka Miles Morales. We get to see a ton of new web slinging mechanics here. First of all is the Super Slingshot, which you can do by holding L2 and X. The word super here makes you think that it's possible there's another version which is just a normal slingshot, which is a lot less powerful. I also love the foreshadowing towards Peter's attitude towards his friends here. He cuts Miles off as a lot more direct, not really caring for what he has to say.
Connors to the Harlem Fish Market.
Lizard. I'm on it. Sounds like Kraven's checking off his...
We don't have much time. Move.
Guess we'll chat later?
We also then see another long-awaited feature, which is web wings, and I gotta say, this looks really fun to play with. There's also slipstreams you can glide through, which propel you forward a ton. Combat starts, and we finally get to see what Miles' gameplay looks like. I love how different his UI is, first of all. It's a lot more stylized and video game-like compared to Peter's. I think it really works and helps to make both of them feel more unique. We get a look at another new enemy, which is a bird drone. Overall stealth seems pretty much the same, not too much to talk about really. Although you can make a web line now, which seems cooler, but I'm worried that this could make stealth easier than it already is. As before you actually had to find spots to do takedowns, now you can make your own whenever you like. There's also now dual takedowns, which is kinda interesting, and we get a look at the first gadget, which is the web grabber. It's basically just the trip mine, but way better. Miles has blue electricity now, which I was not expecting, but it's fine. And we get to see the first of Miles' special moves, that being this kind of web lock-on thing, which you can do by pressing L1 plus D-pad up. Miles can also do this Emperor Palpatine x Miguel O'Hara type move, which is a fucking insane finisher. We then see him do this L1 plus D-pad left move, which is another Emperor Palpatine electric blast thing, which also hits nearby enemies too. Again, we unfortunately don't get to see the moves for L1 plus D-pad down or D-pad right. Moving on a bit, Miles goes searching for Lizard and gets to go through this horror vibe type thing, which I think looks really fucking cool. I also love how as Miles turns the corner you can see Lizard's shadow just crawling around. Once Genki catches up with Miles and we see a fuck ton of dead fish, Peter busts in and looks genuinely terrifying. Peter is again a lot more serious, and I think it's cool to see how the symbiote is affecting his mind. I also love how Miles is very clearly disturbed by Peter now, and this continues throughout the section. Getting into the boat section, I love these boat takedowns. They're really stylish, and I overall think a boat chase was long overdue in this series. I also love the pink and blue on the triangle for Miles' takedowns. It just adds this little bit of personality, and again, style. We swap back to Peter again, and the aggression is just on point here. I really do love how Peter is trying his hardest to sound mean and edgy, but just can't. I do think it's also cool to see how Peter just doesn't care about killing the men in the ship, and doesn't think before trying to do it, which just leads to him getting taken down by rockets. Small detail also, but it's great how the symbiote wraps some kind of protection around Peter as he's about to get hit. There's then this little lizard escape sequence, and I love his design here. It does take away the silliness of his design, but for the tone they're going for, I don't really mind it. We also know from the first game that his original design with the lab coat and the purple pants is canon, so I don't think it really matters if they've gone for realism here. After the escape sequence, Miles and Peter pull off an alley-oop, and one thing I want to point out here is how Miles' electricity goes back to orange, which I want to point out purely because I find it interesting that he can swap between them. There's a chance this is an error and it is actually meant to be blue here, but I'm going to personally believe it's not and that we can swap between them. Moving on though, we again get to see more of Peter's aggression here, with him just throwing this guy onto the ground and leaving with Miles questioning what the fuck just happened. I do really like small tidbits like this, just small changes in attitude that show Peter isn't himself at all. It's great writing. I also love Peter telling Miles to sit down purely because he wants to do it himself, and because of that Miles is really shocked and disturbed by him. It's an interesting dynamic, and also create a theory that we're going to get a Miles vs Peter boss fight, which I would genuinely love. But you know what would be more fucked up? Them making us choose between who to fight, as in whether you fight Miles as Peter, or fight Peter as Miles. With that said though, that's the gameplay analysis done. This is just a quick video I wanted to do because I really want to start doing more Spider-Man content on this channel. Thank you all for watching, remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.